I mean, it's just numerous issues. Can I also point? Let's pivot from another thing. Vaccines don't cause autism, and Tylenol doesn't cause autism. It is, and oh my, I can't believe I have to say this. Thank you, RFK Jr. Circumcision doesn't also cause autism. I feel like they are just seriously, they are reaching for whatever they can get and are trying to blame it. Children and adults on the spectrum don't need to be cured. That's not how it works. I don't even know what this timeline is anymore. Anyway, I felt like we were having
better now. Do you
yeah,
feel
a
better
little
now?
bit. I mean, it's just they get so emotional. They reach for the transgender thing, the gender thing, when they think they've hit a wall somewhere. And I feel bad because we could have figured whatever it is out. And even if you disagreed with me about the gender or children or any of this stuff, we could talk about it because that's how adults work things out in society.
Yeah, I don't get why people are just so randomly hateful, right? Like he's up here having a conversation, and all of a sudden he's got to bring out the hate, right? And it's always Christian people bringing out the hate, right?
And not to get too political, but like transgender and illegal is the new Jew. All they need to do is say either of those two words, and the best combination is both of those words. And you can derail almost any issue. Not to date this podcast, but the government shut down because, it's somehow legals are getting health insurance, but they're actually illegals. All right, anyway, now I'm getting into the political realm, but they begged me
All right,
for years not to talk about identity politics.
We'll give you another chance, Blue. Let's not bring in any hate speech.
Sure. You mentioned earlier, and I apologize that was a slip of the tongue. You mentioned earlier that the parents are concerned more than the students, or the students started asking you about the transgender stuff as well. Why are the parents going to your school and asking about you? Why are they doing that if everything's fine?
No. Online, on the internet. No one
Okay.
talks about it in my real life. I mean, the people
said they
on
did.
the media.
I thought you said in school.
Why? No. I said my mother tells me to never talk about that subject. And I said through not trying to talk about identity politics for the past 20 years, the media, the internet, you get this sort of reaction. So by me not talking about it, it is somehow
live with your mother?
actually... Do I live with my mother? No, I haven't lived with my mother in over almost 20 years.
Has the school ever talked to you about your gender?
No.
Have any parents been concerned and
No.
Okay. What do the kids say when they see a grown man in a dress trying to teach them about stuff?
They say, "Hello, Miss Newman."
But you're not a female.
Oh, I see. This is what I mean. It's an emotional thing. It's that you want to say, "How dare they call you Miss?" But that's not a big thing. It hasn't been a big thing for me for 20 years because I am trying to teach them how to do basic addition, multiplication. It is their first time measuring, being able to count time.
Why don't you just wear like regular guy clothes when you do that? Why do you
Because
have to
I
spread-
like the clothes that you know what? I'm quoting another comedian. They are not women's clothes. They're my clothes. I paid for them.
Okay, I see. Interesting. Wow. Okay, that's a lot to think about. How about you, Taco? What do you think about this?
I don't know enough about the topic to.
Sure. Sorry,
but
may I ask
I
you-
support. I think everybody should be equal, and I support everybody to have the
so would
ability
you-
to live a normal life.
Like, would you send your
unimpeded
kids
by
to school?
nonsense.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you send your kids to school if the teacher was transgender?
Yeah.
How about
Why wouldn't I?
babysitting?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
What was that? What was that pause you did there for a second?
I say a lot.
Okay. I don't. Okay, cool. So,
I'm sorry.
You
I'm sorry. Did you just hear what you just said there? You just said I don't say a lot.
What?
I mean, is thinking. I was about to defend Taco, not that he defends himself, but
Hmm.
okay, continue. Please just continue.
I'm okay. That was weird. Okay, anyways, so what I wanted to say was I feel like it is strange, and most parents probably wouldn't agree with it. I think that's also common with theists. So atheists commonly agree with the LGBT. I think your religion is the LGBT. So like sucking
Can
dick.
I tell you?
insane thing to say.
Yeah,
But isn't
I
it
think sucking
weird that
dick is
we
pretty
weren't
much your religion.
talking? Can I be honest? You're the first
Yeah.
one. If we measured, if we had like a pie chart or a graph of who talked about sucking up dick, you'd actually be the winner. I guess now I'm in second place. But it's just interesting that of all the people that brought up gender, it's you.
Sure. Okay, can I just ask Taco one follow-up question as well?
Sure.
Taco, are you I mean, do you think trans women are women?
Sure, why not?
Okay, would you date one?
Probably not.
Well, what do you mean? They're women. You don't date
No.
one?
That is okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
ding dong's not my thing.
But you just said they're women, so what's the difference?
Yeah, but the genetic aspect of it.
So I don't get it. Are they women or are they not women?
Yeah, if they want to be called women, why wouldn't you call them women?
Okay, but you accept them as women. You think that they should.
I don't know the exact sociological distinctions and the correct terminology to use here. I'm explaining this to you the best I can.
Okay, you don't sound very smart. I don't think you should be up here. Should we get
See,
somebody else?
Adams. No. Well, what he's trying to say to you is that it does not pick his pocket to call someone or break his bones to call someone the gender that they identify as. And I'm sorry, we do that all the time. People arbitrarily just say, I don't like their hair color. I don't like how I like them tall. I like them small. I like seriously, what he said was perfectly fine. Taco would be respectful to every single person. He is not obligated to date every single person.
If somebody doesn't want to date you, Amy, because you're a trans
Do this?
woman, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Would that okay? Great. So, if they date you, are they still straight? Like if a man is dating you?
That would be up to them. I would
what do
classify
you think?
them between straight and bisexual. I think that there's actually a spectrum of sexuality, and I think they would be what I call heteroflexible. They are into feminine people.
Yeah, I think you should be around children, honestly. But okay, so
No,
Taco, would you agree?
open that conversation? No. You made a claim. Why don't you think I should be around children?
I think you're a mentally ill man in a dress.
Okay, what's your definition of mentally ill?
You.
See, this is what I mean. You. Is that a good definition? Welcome, I got my degree in psychology. Mental illness is you.
Do you have your degree in psychology?
No, I have a degree. I have an associate's in graphic design, a bachelor's in visual film. I have a bachelor's in game development. I have a master's in information technology, and I have a master's in educational technology.
Okay, so nothing to do with teaching, yeah?
A master's of education in educational technology. I am also certified as a special ed teacher within my state.
Okay. Okay, you have some certification. I guess they give those to anybody. Okay.
No, you have to pass exams. You have to pass classes. You have to go to school.
Okay, great. And how would you say you're like? Do the students like you, or do they think you're weird? They
Yes.
make fun of you. They throw stuff. At
No, they're on the spectrum. You are exactly the opposite of the type of kids. My kids they don't have that type of emotional embarrassment. They just are who they are. They don't judge people. And I'm sure there are people on the spectrum that judge people, but this mean girls bullshit that you're trying to pull, no, they are not like that.
Okay, I think maybe Would you say you're on the spectrum?
I am not. I have ADHD. I am neurodiverse. I think I am very sympathetic to children on the spectrum, and yet I am not.
I think you don't work at a school. I think you go to a mental hospital and talk to like your doctor, and you think they're students.
Well,
I
someone's
feel like
signing
you're
my
one of those
paycheck.
people that probably just like escaped the mental hospital.
Okay, I mean it's just ad hominems. I feel like I've
Oh,
been really
I'll
reasonable.
stop with the nonsense.
I fought to have you on here and actually have a conversation with me.
Okay, Amy, me and you both know it's weird for you to be around kids and teaching kids. You don't have
No.
everything together.
No,
You're a
I
strange
think
guy.
what you do is the religious are obsessed with sexuality.
But
I'm
you guys
sorry
are
to
religious
use my
too. But you're just religious about the
I'm not.
LGBT.
LGBTQ is not a religion. It was
is to
us
us.
banding together because politically and socially, to go back on topic, the religious keep on coming after us.
But we wouldn't come after you if you weren't coming after the kids.
Do you notice? At least you admit it. Thank you. It's just nice to hear you say, but this is why, because you're admitting it. You know you just don't like it.
Yeah, of course. We think you're
It
freaks.
actually,
We don't like you.
I mean, to be honest, your holy book says stone us to death. You're almost being nice, right? You're not stoning me to death on,
Yeah, laws are in place against that, unfortunately. But
Unfortunately. Do you notice that
Unfortunately,
This is what they do.
I know, exactly. They want to murder, and I give a warning out there. It's not just the LGBTQ. Like, he's not just the trans. It's all of the people that they dislike.
well, we don't want you near kids. I mean, that's something I think most of the world would agree on.
Okay, but how about this? Do you think it should be allowed for
I think even
parents?
Indians, like Hinduism, would. Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't think they have the same sort of baggage.
I think
I'm
they
not
do.
really
I
a
think
big.
Indians even hate you. Yeah.
Yeah, even in okay.
Yeah,
why
like
don't you
90.
bring-
I would say 99.2% of the world.
You have
hates
a
Probably
you
wants
a
you out.
99.2. That's
You heard me.
amazing. Okay, I bet you have a source for that, right?
I do.
I do. Is it called ImadeItUp.com?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Oh
All
my
right. So you were
goodness.
saying. Yeah. But hey, at least this is entertainment. Like when I'm up here, we're actually having interesting topics, like the debates.
I
It was super boring
like
before I
the
got up
back
here.
and forth.
Yeah.
I think we had some good
No,
conversations.
that was boring. It was a snooze fest. Everyone was leaving.
Mhm.
All right. Anyways, now everyone's coming back in.
Listen,
You're welcome, Taco. Okay, sorry, you were saying, Amy?
Okay.
what I'm saying is that there's a reason that I'm an
And
anti-theist.
one of the guys in my audience submitted a super chat saying you're evil according to Jesus.
Who, me?
I agree, actually.
Correct.
Who said that?
I think it was Martin Goldstein. Yeah, Martin Goldstein, the guy who made my intro
Martin
song.
Goldstein. Yeah, okay, we know each other. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. All right, thanks, Martin. He's a friend of mine. We're just joking. Okay, cool.
He paid money to make a joke. In that case, thank you for the donation.
Yeah, thank you for the donation, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Because I tried this. This is what I was saying about the 20 years thing. It's not up to me anymore to stop being obsessed with transgender.
Sorry, wait, where's this
It
being
is
streamed?
when-
Taco? So sorry to interrupt, Amy.
To his stream and my stream.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand. But anyway, the only way they're going to get over trans, gay, doesn't matter what version of the LGBTQ, the versions of misogyny and treating others, minorities, poorly, the only way we're going to get rid of it is by one simple fact. Getting rid of religion. Welcome,
Hi.
noted.
Hi guys, I can't hear you guys so well, so excuse me if I like kind of ask you to repeat. Something is wrong with my audio directing from the speaker to input. I'm on my phone. But Amy, I've just been hearing you talking and like, okay, I understand that you're upset that there's a majority of Christians that are actively against LGBTQ. right? But like at the end of the day, the core of Christianity is that is to love one another, right? So it's like you're trying to eradicate Christianity in its entirety, and and what I'm trying to tell you is that you should not do that, because we've seen what Christianity has done for America. We've seen the standard of good, you know. So I'm curious, like, is there any problem with you? What is the problem with Christianity?
Yeah.
Why are you trying so hard to
Very
eradicate it?
That's a good question. I would say, first of all, if you are a good person and you have framed it through Christianity and you've just spent your whole life doing good, then I'm happy for that. Whatever medium it took to get there. I will say the reason that we're trying to get rid of Christianity and all the other religions is because we don't think that they're true. And it's not that we think that Jesus was a bad person. I mean, I'm sure there are actually things that I could go through the list that Jesus said that I would agree with. At the end of the day, even if he said all of these good things, but it was tied to, I am the son of a God, I am a God, I committed miracles, blah, 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 we're always going to oppose that because it's not about the morality, it's about it being literally true. And again, I like Jesus going around as far as prophets go, because I'm not really a big fan of prophets, the entire notion. But as far as prophets go, okay, he says some good things, love everyone, love your neighbor. Cool. I like that. Trying to think of the quote from Gandhi, I'm very much paraphrasing. I like your Jesus, you Christians are so unlike your Jesus. Something akin to that.
Well, I mean, I think when you say the word truth, it's a very ambiguous statement, because I mean, we have many, like, how I see it is like, what are you trying to say, that Christians are delusional? Or because as far as I see, we are actually, the
Complicated.
statistic shows that, you know, we're not delusional. We are grounded in reality more than a lot of people. Like God
Well-
says, do not do drugs, you know, do not keep a sober mind. Like, we are more grounded. So what is this term of truth that you're using? That why is it, you know, why does it seem so horrific that Christians may have, you know, like, I'm lost.
Can I?
Like, are you
can I-
fighting something emotional, or are you fighting something with logic?
Both, I would argue there. But can I tell you? I'm gonna say something that seems like an insult, but hopefully I'll turn it around. Okay, I want to define two things, and you can tell me if you disagree with me. A delusion to me is believing something that does not match reality. Mental illness means that a person cannot function in society or their day-to-day life. That, to me, in a weird way, tells me that you hold a delusion and that you're not mentally ill. Does that make sense? You can actually function. You're a great member of society. You help your family, your loved ones. You watch Netflix. You do what you do. You try to do charity, and and yet there are certain beliefs that I would say Taco and I say specifically that when they divulge from the metaphorical and become literal, they become science questions, and I would hold it to that specific scrutiny. I know that's a lot, but what do you think of that?
I think like, I mean, like, I think that delusion is something when you're under the influence of like hardcore drugs, or like, you know, I don't think that. I think there's some. I mean, come on, we must admit, like,
Well-
there is merit to religion. I mean, so
Can I pause you before you
I'm
say
very
that?
confused to why you would completely think that we need to remove Christianity. Like, if anything, I would see that it should be more within school systems. It should be, you know, it teaches the world not to be a part of the world. It teaches us to you know, to be humbled. I don't see why you would find Christianity to be so flawed and think that we're
Well,
delusional. We're not.
there is
You know?
there's nothing wrong with being humble. Can I actually point something out? And you could tell me I'm crazy. You can argue if I'm wrong. I believe that Jesus would not call himself God and would not call himself perfect. I think both of those things, because he does seem at least wise in some of the examples. And if he was a wise man in some of the scenarios that he goes through with other people, I don't think he would have claimed that he was either of those things. I think those were created later by his followers. Nonetheless, I want to remove Christianity again, not through force, because that doesn't work. We've seen through history that it just, creates rebellion, resistance, and underground that eventually just wants to rise up and rule again. The only way that we're ever going to truly remove Christianity, quote unquote, is if I and Taco can have these conversations with you and we are convincing enough, and not just us, but basically social media and memes, culture as a society, we're able to remove it. And we're able to say, hey, we're not going to believe in this. Because there's tons of religions that do not exist anymore. And while many of them were removed via the sword or forced convert, some just don't stick around. And so I will say another thing, hardcore drugs, you're right. You can have a delusion through hardcore drugs. Hardcore drugs are, however, not the only way you can have a delusion. Another way to point this out, I know it's a silly example, but to put it succinctly, I feel bad giving this example. Before I go on, what do you think of that?
I just all I've seen is if anything, Christianity has kept, well, in my regard, has kept the freedom of humanity, right? The Crusaders have fought Islam's oppression. We have changed a lot of pagan religions that have sacrificed unrighteously. We have done a lot of things throughout history that can be considered the absolute truth for existence. So I mean, the thing is, Amy, is I get that you're angry with some Christians who do have this heightened or probably more forceful way of trying to change LGBTQ, right? But I think that you're not looking at the core of Christianity, which is that it is nothing like that.
Can I
at the end of the day, bro, my hand extends out to everyone who has gender dysphoria. I'm there to help them through life. I'm not here to condemn them. And there's many Christians like me, many Christians like me. So maybe your perspective is a bit pessimistic. Maybe your heart needs to be less hardened by what
I
people have done
appreciate
to you.
that. So listen, I understand. What I'll first put down, because unfortunately, maybe I do sometimes come off more pessimistic as I get older. I'm generally an optimist, but if I were not LGBTQ, okay, and it's a shame because not a shame, but I'm like 2 or 3 of those letters. Nonetheless, if I were a straight white man, I didn't have any of that. I think I would like to think through my empathy. I'll give you an example. And I know we could disagree. I feel bad almost bringing this up because it makes it political. But, I'm pro-abortion, not because I have a uterus. In fact, I would argue I don't have a uterus. And yet I want to have autonomy for biological women. I feel like in that instance, I should stand up for them. Now, it is sad, I'm going to say, because I feel now I'm bringing more politics in. It's sad that the baby has to die. And I don't know, you don't want me to say fetus or whatever, because it doesn't matter what dies. I get that it's sad. Nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is we could have those emotions you were trying to say. You were trying to push not only being humble, but I would argue empathy and all of these things that your version of Christianity is pushing. I think we should have that. We just don't need Christianity. But the linchpin for me is it's not about me being LGBTQ. Like it is a important thing. It's something I argue for. I would say most people, most theists that I come across at this point, they say this is why you hate God. They say you hate God, but I mean, in my defense, my co-host on my channel is a straight white man. My partner in crime on this podcast is a straight white man. And so, and yet I feel like I have very similar views to both James W., my co-host, and Taco right now.
And there is a question from one of the audience members on my YouTube. They're asking, can a good or loving person go to heaven if they completely and utterly reject Christ as Lord and Savior?
The problem is it's
that
not
was a
about
good
like
question.
Okay, so the way this question is answered is that like the problem is that God cannot be all loving and all just, right? There has to be a balance, right? And the thing is like the way I look at it is that if you don't believe in the Son of God, if you don't believe that He has given you redemption for your wrongdoings, then you're not gonna please God. There's no, you understand? There's no what it really means is that it's more justice for God than it is for our understanding. So by accepting Christ, you're basically giving God the justification, right? Because only something that is immaculate, only something that is perfect can please God for your wrongdoings. Because you're gonna always be in a perpetual state of sin. You're never gonna be good enough. And so God basically, this is who God's nature is, and He's shown us the way out, and He's shown us an understanding for our determinism. And when it's not a matter of our understanding, it's a matter of pleasing God, right? It's a matter of giving justice for God, and actually, I hold the same understanding as well. So like a person who does good deeds, it's all fleeting. It goes with the wind. No one is gonna remember. Like it's more like this life is more between you and God than it is within society. And so the only way to God, to please God, the only way that you can justify your wrongdoings, atone for your sins, is through perfection itself. That is good enough for God, and He's given you a way to have this on a system, right? And He has still your free will is still right bound. It's not removed. You're still able to go about doing as you please. But this is how it is, and there's no other way. And so I think that if you do not accept Christ as your savior, you're not going to there's not going to be any justice for God. And so and in essence, by rejecting His Son, which has so much, there's so much historical evidence, so much. It's changed the course of history. It's like it's too overwhelming to not think twice about Christ. And I think once you reject Christ, once you reject the Son, you reject the Father. And so I think there's no way to God but through the Son, through forgiveness of your sins, because it's just how God's nature is, and I understand. I hope I explained it well enough. I kind of joined here very suddenly, so
And Cutlery Duck said, anyone notice how the most hateful people are always the ones with the most opinions and the least knowledge? That's a pretty valid point. Not that you're too hateful, noted. You're generally pretty chill.
Well, yeah, thank you, Taco, for that, man. But I think, like, you know,
I mean, I see all the rooms with like trans women and gay dudes that you go into that you hit on. Like, I mean, I know you're not hateful and you love everybody.
Yeah, no, I accept everyone, bro. Like, you know, I'm not. There's some people who kind of like they try to find more purpose in trying to like condemn people and stuff, and it's more of the ego than it is of who God is, right? And I'm not that person. I know God would want me to bring, you know, the gender dysphoria, you know, like to kind of bring people to the light and not push them away from the light, and that's my calling, right? And people should align with that and not try to get this false pride and this to bring down and condemn people to make them feel more righteous. I think it's, you know, you have to forgive people. You know, Christ says, forgive them for they do not know. You have to forgive the Christians who are also has evil intentions. You know, some of them are blind, right? But at the end of the day, we're all infallible. We're all human, you know, and, you know, but I think Christ is the core to everything. And I think that his light is trying to pull you in, and you know, the more you reject it, is the more you're gonna live for the world, and it's not satisfying because it's all fleeting and we die. You know, as sad as it sounds. So you have, you know, so like I think with Christ you have true purpose, and you understand your purpose on earth. And so yeah, I don't hate anyone. There's times where, you know, how can I hate anyone if I'm innately flawed? Like, it's just, it's not sound-minded. It's not. And you know, God, this is what Christ was teaching us as well. You know, to not judge others, right? For we will be judged, right? And Amy, I think I'm sorry that you had to deal with a lot of hateful Christians. I'm here to accept you for who you are, and I'm telling you that Christ wants to have a relationship with you, and it's okay. We all have our sins, you know. We all have our weight, but you know, I just want you to be at peace. And I think if the world does not give you that, at least Christ can. At least the Son of God, or God who entered the flesh, who humbled himself, can give you that peace. Right? There's no other religion like that where God has entered the flesh for you to show you the way. So yeah, Amy, I'm sorry, you know.
No, it's so I appreciate that and thank you. It does make me feel better to know there are sympathetic, empathetic Christians out there. It is just two separations, because at one, you know, side, I would say I would fight to the death to defend your right to have the ability to have your religion. I think that is as important as me being able to have no religion. And so on that, I would, you know, we would be on the same side. I would say it's more just the intellectual domain. It's not that I want to be like, you know, go mwah ha ha ha, we must get rid of all the religious people. It's that to us, it's just outdated technology. And yes, sometimes in outdated technology, there were still things that were either useful, some of them still useful now. I mean, I guess be nice to your neighbor is, I believe, is always going to be good advice. But, you know, some of the old advice fuels the people who have hate in their hearts. And so, you know, it's trying to rebut that. I guess you and I can, well, Taco and I are going to probably continue to try and convince people not to be theists, but all three of us can work together to, I mean, the word is bigot, but I like to add emphasis to the people who think I'm being politically correct and not to be too foul-mouthed. But if you're being, an ass, a dick, if you're being rude or unkind to someone, we could say bigoted, but yeah, then I think all three of us would agree, and dare I say, probably Jesus would also be against them.
Yeah.
I think Jesus would be against all of the Christian religion.
I would so much agree. The Christian religion that I think ended up happening throughout most of the gospel, I think is drastically different from probably what Jesus, if he existed as a rabbi, probably was teaching. I like I said, noted, some of the nicer things are good teachings, but there's a lot of baggage by, unfortunately, your brothers and sisters. So again, they're not you.
They say love everybody. Christ is about loving everybody, and then Blue comes up here and shit talks trans people, right? Like that's like what we're doing.
You know what, Taco? You may think this sounds delusional, but it's the ones that are closer to God is the ones that are being, have the authorities at play, right? These are the ones that are being, their thoughts are being sourced from other places as well. Like the Christians are gonna be tempted. They're gonna be more,
Well, and not to armchair psychologize, but the people who attack me, and I imagine, okay, I'm just empathizing here, the racists that say things to minorities, you can feel the hate in like their speech and their tone, and it's almost visceral, and so it's almost more a them problem than a me problem. There's almost nothing I can do but sometimes listen to what is underlying that, and I imagine the same is true, unfortunately, for a racist.